All right, welcome everyone. This is going to be the recap for this last week ending on June 18, 2021. One of the things we're going to be talking about today is, are you logging all the setups? Folks, I promise you, 98% of you are not logging all your setups. And when we mean setups, that is whenever your program, system, whatever you want to call it, signals a trade. Are you keeping a log of those? Whether you take the trade or not, I promise you 98% of the people aren't doing it. And I use 98% because 98% of the people lose money. If you're not doing this, you're leaving money on the table, and more than likely, you're probably not being successful. But most people don't want to put in the effort to do this, and that's why 98% of traders don't make any money. But anyway, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the advantages of why it's important of logging all your setups. I'm going to show you what I do on a daily basis and how it helps me in determining whether I'm taking a trade or not, and if I'm going to be putting size on it. All right, we'll get into that right after we look at this last week. Let's look at our numbers, let's look at our stats, and see how we did. Okay, so here we are. We're taking a look at the PAP as we do every week. We look at one particular pattern. We've been looking at this pattern now for almost 2 years now. This is probably the most popular of the 5 different patterns that is included in the core package. It's called PAP, P-A-P, and this is the stats on what we call naked setups. That means whenever we have a setup, whether it is a buy or sell, this is what the results would be without regards to any other additional filtration. We do have additional filtrations that we look at, but these are just the naked stats. Why is that important? Because right out of the gate, okay, we are putting the probabilities in our favor. Remember, this is a game of probabilities, folks. That's all trading is. You're trading probabilities. Now, keep in mind that probabilities aren't everything. You can have a system where you're 98% right, but if you're only making $2 or $3, that doesn't mean you're going to be a profitable trader, okay? So, obviously, premium and your losses and so forth all have a factor in whether you're going to be profitable or not. My most profitable day, I've been saying this and repeat this for years. My most profitable day, I was only right 47%. It's all on how you manage size. And part of that's going to be what we're going to be getting into here right after we go through these stats. Okay, got to log your trades. That's a big part of trading, but we'll talk about that here in a second. But nonetheless, looking at our naked stats for the week, this is the 4 main pairs that we trade. Nadex says offer a total of 7. Those other 3 pairs would have the same probabilities, because it doesn't matter whether I'm looking at Forex or I'm looking at gold or silver. Doesn't matter. These patterns are consistent throughout everything. All right. So, but nonetheless, as we look at this right now, we can see that on average, if you were to average this out, total as a pair, as all of them together as a group, was running somewhere in the 76 percentile, but you can see these are very good numbers for the morning and night, considering these are all naked without any additional filtration. So once again, percentage wise, as always, are right where we expect. Typically somewhere around that 75 to 85% is what I would expect, because remember, there's a part of the market that you cannot predict, and we call it noise. And noise can be anything from some sort of fundamental event to the market just getting extremely thin, and it gets a little, you see a lot of volatility coming into the market, okay? So that happens, but that is unpredictable, and that's part of trading. You just have to accept it's part of the business. But still, anything, remember, anything over 50%, the odds are in your favor. We like to see that right in Vegas. We're in the 75s and higher percent. So for most people trading, most people cannot achieve those kind of consistent percentages. And I'm talking consistent. Yeah, everybody can have good weeks, but can you have month after day after day after day after month holding these kind of percentages? very unlikely unless you're trading patterns. If you are a pattern-based trader, then and you can quantify it, then more than likely, if it is a reliable pattern and it holds up in one pair, it should hold up in another pair and or another instrument like gold or silver. And if it does, you have a reliable pattern, and that's something you can start keeping track of, and because that's going to give you a lot of important information. All right, but nonetheless, first trades of the day, 80% had a loser, one loser, and for the daily setups, one loser for the evening setups, hitting 80%. What I would expect overall, sometimes we're lucky, sometimes we hit 100%. All right, so it is what it is, but still we're doing extremely good, right over in that 80% to 90% is where we're looking to be. And once again, we've been doing this for years, folks, and this is what we expect, and this is what we're seeing. CB trades, not bad. Had a pretty decent week. Had one losing day. This was on Tuesday. It is what it is, folks. You're not going to make money every day. That's just the way it is. Tuesday actually started off profitable, but I got a little bit more aggressive and ended up putting myself in the negative. But instead of getting aggressive and trying to get myself out of it, I knew that the markets would turn around and come back. So I just came back the next day and slowly came back, and that's what we're looking at here. So once again, trading like everything else, you're going to have losses. You can't run a business, all right? You got to treat this as a business. All businesses have expenses, and hopefully your business has income. But just like trading has its own income, and it also has its expenses, all right? So losses are nothing but expenses in this business, and that's the way you have to look at it, all right? Don't get focused on your expenses so much. Focus on what you can do to have more income. That's what we want to focus on, right? So anyway, not a bad week overall. Looking at CB, looking at all the stats for PAP. Once again, we do have a total of 5 different patterns. They all run in the same percentages, all right? I know because we've looked at them, we've tracked them, but to do this on a daily basis, it's too overwhelming, as you'll see here in just a minute. But I have tracked the other ones, and they all have the same percentages. So these are very strong patterns, folks, very strong setups. I mean, when it comes to trading, you might as well put the odds in your favor coming right out of the gate, whether you're an experienced or not an experienced trader. So this gives you a big leg up as you work your way into becoming a more successful trader, right? These setups alone are not going to make you money. You still have to learn how to use them, when to use them, and understand market structure, understand the personality of every instrument that you're trading, and putting in the screen time, okay? There's nothing more important than screen time in this business. If you're not willing to sit in front of the screen for several hours every day, you shouldn't be trading. You need to be doing something else, okay? Just telling you, this is reality, folks. Don't believe the hype out there. All the hype just want to sell you programs, and they're going to tell you how easy it is. You just buy their program, and you close your eyes, and it just makes money. Not going to happen, folks, okay? But if you don't believe me, go ahead and waste your money on it. That's your prerogative. Anyway, so let's go and take a look at what I do and why it's so important to log your trades. All right, so here we go. This is my log sheet. This is what I do every single day, and this is going to only apply to the PAP pattern, P-A-P pattern, right? We have 5 of them. It's up to you if you want to keep track of all 5 of them. You're probably doing this full-time because it's a full-time job almost just for me to keep up with PAP and help my traders and everything else that I do. But this is something I do on every single day. I wouldn't trade without it. And let me just point out a couple things of what I'm looking at, okay? We're not going to get into everything, but I am going to point out a couple things here that I think are real important and why you want to keep track of your trades, why you want to log your trades. The other thing is, if you, for some reason, believe in indicators, this is probably not going to work for you because you cannot quantify them, okay? It's very, very difficult, but if you want to go ahead and do it, you can do it. but I can almost promise you, you're not going to find any kind of patterns in terms of your profit and losses if you're using any kind of indicator-based approach, okay? Bollinger Bands, stochastics, moving averages, all that other stuff, all right? So, that being said, let's tell you what I look at. Obviously, one of the things, as you can see here, these are the four main pairs that we talk about every single week. Those that are highlighted in dark, those are night trading. They have the N next to it. This is what we do because we trade. Our chat room is open in the morning and in the evening. We trade in the morning and we trade at night because we are traders, folks. We're here to trade and make money, right? So we are traders, so we spend a lot of time trading, and that's what you see here. But I keep track of my stats in the morning, and I keep track of all my trades, all my setups in the evening. I track number of losses in a row. What is the percentage of trades that are winners after a single loss, after two losses, after three losses, all right? If for some reason you think you're better off trading after three losses than the one losses, you're wrong. You're better off trading after one loss instead of three losses, and there's a reason for that. I'm not going to get into it. I do get into it with my students if they ask me, but there is a reason why. Because people are thinking, well, I have three losses, it's due for a win. Wrong, okay? A lot of things you've been thinking about, a lot of things you've been taught, doesn't mean that they are going to really play out in the market. What you'll find is typically if you're trading a pattern-based approach and it's one that is in phase with the market, more than likely you're going to do better off trading after a single loss than waiting for two losses. Okay, so that being said, these are obviously the dates. I'm just looking from this last month on, all right? And what do we see right over here? Number of losses. What that means is, what is the number of losses in a row we had for that particular day? So if you look at the Aussie US for June 1st, on the Aussie US, I only had two losses in a row, all right? But on the euro, the pound, I had only one loss in a row. And then on the US yen, I only had two losses in a row for the whole day. Most of these days are going to have, you know, somewhere in the, let's go back here. Going back to June, you're going to see you're usually going to be running somewhere in the, 18 to 20 setups in the morning. This is from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. my time, Central Time. At night, we're only looking at a 2-hour window, so you're probably going to get 3 to 5 at night, typically. All right. So looking at the number of losses in a row, what you're seeing here is if you go down, you start to seeing a lot of ones, right? You see a lot of ones there, all right? How important is that? Well, it's very important because it does a couple things. First of all, if you're trading a pattern-based approach, all right, if you're using patterns, okay, also display patterns in their results, all right, and that is extremely important. This is just one of them, all right, seeing that the odds go up in my favor after a single loss, but there are other patterns. Once again, not going to get into everything, all right, but I can give you guys a little clue. What to look at is I would be looking at obviously that, but ask yourself, okay, well, if my first trade of the day happened to be a loss, what is the probability that the next trade is going to be a loss? Or better yet, if I had a short that was a loss, what is the probability that the next short setup is going to be a loss? All these things, okay, will help you narrow in on catching those trades where maybe you want to go ahead and add a little bit of size and or maybe step back, all right? At the same time, there's indicators in here that tells you to lighten up and not keep trading. So all those things are really, really important. If you're not keeping track of your stats, then more than likely you're probably not a successful trader. All the successful traders that I know keep track of all their trades. And you really got to look at it. Is this a lot of hard work? Absolutely. Is this easy? No, it's not easy. All right. You have to put in time. Are you willing to put in this time? Are you willing to track all of this? If you are, then more than likely you will be a successful trader. If you're not, everybody that I know that's in my room that doesn't do this, then they will not be a consistently profitable trader, okay? Because they're leaving a piece of the puzzle on the table, all right? It's like pieces of puzzle. We have to put it all together, and that's what's going to help us. So if you're not doing this now with whatever approach you're trading, first of all, if it's indicator based, probably a waste of time to do this. If what you're using are patterns and you can quantify it, then this is what you want to do. You want to track every single one of those setups. Now, because I track all these setups doesn't mean that I'm taking every single one of them, right? Just because you see a win here doesn't mean I took a win on that particular trade, all right? Because once again, there are other factors involved in whether I want to take a setup or not. I want to look at what were the prior trades doing? What's the condition of the market? It's like I said, once again, it's a piece of the puzzle, but you still need to keep track of the trade, whether it would have won or whether it would have lost if you just traded it in a naked fashion. And these are what you see when I show the naked stats. It's just set up, Euro said to buy. Okay, this first trade of the day said to buy it. Had you done that, it would have been a winner, all right, based on our entry parameters. Whereas in the Aussie, that first trade, which was a buy, it would have been a loss. So you see you have an LB, lost buy, lost sell, win buy, win sell, all right? And these green, that's something totally different, so just ignore all of that. But the point of the matter is you have to keep track of this information, and if you're not doing it, then you're going to be leaving a big piece on the table. And you need to know this, folks, particularly in binaries, because you have to know when to start adding size. If you're a in-the-money trader or at-the-money trader, you have to know how to adjust contract size. Now, that's totally different when we're talking about trading deep out of the money. So when it comes over to trading the crystal ball, where we can trade deep out of the money, it's not so important anymore because we're selling it at 80, 85, 90 bucks, risking 10 bucks to make 90. So totally different approach. But when we're looking at trading binaries in the monies or at the monies, you have to know how to adjust contract size. And that's something that we teach in our class or in our courses. Nonetheless, that's it. That's going to be it for this week. Please keep track of your trades. I know it's a lot of work, but if you want to be a successful trader, you've got to do it. All right. That being said, we will see everybody next week. This coming week, not real sure. I'm kind of leaning towards it maybe being a quiet week because I'm starting to see some indications that it's probably going to start quieting down a little bit. So doesn't always have to do that in the summer. It can. It doesn't mean that I can't get a little bit more aggressive during the week. I can, but I just kind of keep that in the back of the mind. It doesn't say, okay, well, I'm just going to step away, because it could be an awesome week, but I am a little cautious. So if I see continuing indicators of that, I'm probably not going to trade too heavily. So once again, it all comes down to just, being in the market, trading it, watching the action. You'll get a feel for it. And the only way you're going to do that is screen time. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So hopefully we have a really nice week and have a nice into the week in terms of what I end up making. But that being said, look forward to this coming week. If you have any questions, just go to my website, binaryprostrategies.com. Shoot me an email. I'll be glad to answer those questions for you. As always, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And let me know if you have any questions. Always be glad to answer those for you. We're here to help everybody make money, and that's what I'm showing. This is something I've been doing now for 40 years. This is the best that I've seen in my 40 years of trading, and those that have purchased the program and are using the method will also agree as well, because they are now making money. Many of them for the first times ever in their trading career. I have people who have been trading for 20 years are finally starting to make money, because this is a solid approach. But once again, like everything else, you still have to work at it and apply it and learn it. It's not something you can just buy and close your eyes and think you're going to make money. So I stress that a lot, because I don't want to give anybody the impression that trading is easy, nor do I want you to think that you're going to make the kind of money that I can make. But remember, my results are not typical because I've been doing this for 40 years. But I have some that do better than I do on a daily basis. And it just all depends on how much somebody trades and whether they're trading at a particular time. There's a lot of factors involved. So all results are going to be different. So don't compare yourself to me. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. The key is you look at your results, and the question is, are you getting better? Are you starting to see more success? Are you having more winning days than losing days? Are you able to, when you have a loss, are you able to work your way out of it? That builds a lot of confidence because everybody has losses, and you're always going to have those. You're going to dig those holes, all right? You can't avoid digging holes, but the question is, are you going to be able to dig yourself out of the hole in a slow manner and get yourself green again, start building that account up again? That's what you need to go through. That's what will build confidence, and the only way to do that is screen time, screen time, screen time. So that being said, everybody have a great week, and we will talk to you next week on the next weekly recap. Take care.